Good morning. Good morning, Chief Samora. Nice to see you. Good morning, sir. Good morning, everyone. It is absolutely, I was just talking before, it's a new day in Fort Bend County. And thank you for taking the time to come this morning. This is actually a very special announcement and better yet moving forward and also a better step forward in Fort Bend County. Today we are here to announce the new manager of our Fort Bend County Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Management. As you know, since January, we had an interim manager in that role. The person in this role oversees the emergency management program for our county and includes the coordination of disaster mitigation, planning, response, and recovery. We did an extensive search to find qualified candidate who could meet the need not only of this office, but also someone who can or who could engage with our internal departments, with the public and private partnership. Then you're talking about hundreds of leads and hundreds of municipal utility districts and cities and law enforcement agencies throughout the county. And I don't know, you all know that the latest census numbers, updated census numbers, we are at 893,999. So one short of 894,000 people. So this is important to be prepared if in case there is any emergency happen, and we are prepared. And so we came a long way, as you all know, from our old building, and now we have a state-of-the-art facility, and we are doing so many engagement, especially with our local jurisdiction, and we are working together to make better communicate with our citizens. And as you can see, the Sheriff Department is represented here, the HR, the EMS, and so on and so forth, because we never wanted to be us as a magic or somebody else as a magic. It is a collective effort in Fort Bend County. And I just wanted to say, we did finally come to the conclusion and made a selection, the right person, who happened to be our interim manager since January, Greg Babst. Greg has worked in this office as a specialist prior to serving interim manager, so he is no stranger to our team. And he took over the role as an interim manager in, as I mentioned before, January of this year. His experience include 20 years of emergency management that includes serving as a federal law enforcement officer, 13 years as a tactical operator with Maritime Securities Response Team, CBRNE. Don't ask me that, ask Greg. What does that mean? A tactical boat operator and weapons. 4+ years deployed in Middle East and many deployments across the world. All over Western Hemisphere. Additionally, Greg is a licensed instructor who hold Type 1 and Type 2 level of certifications in various role of command leadership in the National Incident Command System structure. And ladies and gentlemen, here is the new OEM manager, Greg Babst. Greg.
Good morning, everybody. First off, thank you, Judge. I'm humbled and I'm excited about taking this new role and the Judge's confidence in me and our team to build a great Fort Bend County response in the case of a need. We're hoping that there's going to be no need, but in the case of that, we are ready. I want to thank my team, the Homeland Security Emergency Response Team, and all the hard work that they've done since I've taken over as interim. And we're going to continue to build this team and the coordination in this county. I want to thank all the department heads within the county. They've been great and supportive. All our first responders, EMS, Sheriff's Office, Fire Marshal's Office, all the ESDs, all the smaller fire departments throughout this county. As we've worked through tons of exercises, tons of plans, and tons of coordination during this last 2 years that I've been here, and we're going to continue that. I thank you for their support. I want to thank the leadership throughout and all the stakeholders that are within the county for supporting us and supporting the team as we built out this amazing response and activation inside the EOC. I'm excited to see the future of this Emergency Operations Center built, and my goal is to be a value and a responsive, proactive multiplier for all coordination during all hazards in this county with our team. We're going to protect our citizens, that's number one, and be ready for response. Denzel Washington said there's a goal, and when you have a goal, you have to commit to that goal. So you have to start somewhere. We've started. Today's the start. We're going to be committed, and then we're going to have consistency. And that leads into my 3 principles. Those 3 principles are people, professionalism, and proficiency. With that, the goal is to protect our citizens and be ready to respond. Next is professionalism. We will be professionals in what we do. We will get certifications. We will continue to train. We will continue to exercise. And with that comes proficiency. And with that proficiency, we'll have consistency to meet that goal. Our team is committed, and we are going to hit all FEMA mission areas as we move forward. Those mission areas are prevention, protection, mitigation, response, and recovery. We will not leave anything unturned. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. And actually, as I mentioned about working together, one example was recently we had an issue where our dispatch had to go offline because of some building issues. We just made a phone call in few minutes. Dispatch was here. They were here for almost 2-3 weeks, right?
Almost a month.
Almost a month. And that's what this is a people's building, and this is here to serve. And one thing I always mention about working very closely with our largest law enforcement jurisdiction, our sheriff department, and so on and so forth. And thank you, sir. Thank you for being here. And there's another agency, is our EMS. Thank you for being here. And thank you, Greg. Your extensive experience and success working in emergency management in the Coast Guard, among other agencies in that kind of leadership. The Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Management needs as we approach the peak hurricane season and beyond. With that, we conclude this presentation. If you have any question, welcome.
Sir, what is the message for the residents here in Homeland County with hurricane season basically around the corner?
Yeah. Good question. The message is very simple. We care about you. And we will do everything possible to make sure our citizens are protected in case there is an emergency. And we are out there. That's why Greg already mentioned we do numerous trainings, tabletop exercises, making sure in case that they come, we are prepared. And I'm very confident. Fort Bend County Office of Emergency Management is ready just in case if there is emergency, any kind of emergency arises. And another promise to our citizens, we work with every jurisdiction very closely. As you can see behind, there is a room where every one of our stakeholders have a seat if in case there is an activation happen. And so our office is ready, and our citizens need to know that we are working behind the scene to make sure their life, their properties, anything valuable to them is going to be protected. And we will do everything possible to make that happen.
So question, is there an alert system that goes to the citizens? Do they have to register to this alert system? Or how that functions here in this county?
So talk about system is...
Are you talking
like
about...
an alert?
Yes,
like
ma'am.
let's say that they are registered,
Yes, ma'am.
and so their email,
Oh.
and then they get the alert that there's something going on, just to be aware of indications.
No, so I can answer that question.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Thank you.
With that, yes, again, preparedness is key, right? As we move into this hurricane season, what I want everybody to do is to follow us on Facebook, follow us on social media, follow our website, fbcoem.org. On there is our alerting system. It has a scan code or a link on there for you to activate your alerting underneath your phone so that you can be alerted during those times of emergency.
Okay.
Yes.
Any specific information that that the citizens should be aware of? They have to have an email account. They have to have a valid address here.
So on those different levels, correct. So like I mentioned, we do have social media followings. We do have Instagram followings. We do have our website. But along with that, we have AM 1670. So if you tune into AM 1670, it will also give you the same information that's being pushed out through our social media spreads. That way we're hitting everybody, but they don't have the capability of having an email or having a cell phone or whatnot. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. And Connie Judge, and this is a very interesting question because, the population here in this county is growing so much in the last couple of years. How did this become a challenge, especially for you guys when we talk about emergencies, to manage more people, and people from different backgrounds too?
Yeah. It's a good problem to have, right? If you don't have anybody to manage, then we have a problem. And we continue to grow. That's the reason why I always say that when people move to Houston, they have an option to go to all over Houston anywhere, right? And they are coming to Fort Bend. So that means they see how we manage things here, and how we make them feel they belong in this county. And talking about emergency coordination, also we have a texting system where you could punch in the number 888-777, right? And then the message column, you punch in FBC alert, and you send that message. You're going to be part of that testing system. So one of the reasons it is so important, because actual study shows more than 80% of the emails are not looked at. But when it comes to 98% of the texts are looked at, 98%. So that is one of the best way to communicate with our citizens. If there is an emergency coming or they need to be prepared certain way, we only use that in when it is warranted, when it is needed. And so I will ask you citizens to sign up to that texting system. It is 888-777, 888-777. So you could be also connected with our office, what is happening. And so communicating with our citizens is a top priority, as Greg just mentioned. And we use social media and other platforms extensively so that our citizens are aware of what is going on in Fort Bend County. Let's continue to do that. Any other questions?
Can you give us that number again?
888-777. 888-777. And the message column, you punch in FBC alert. And then you're going to be part of that pool, and we will communicate with you. And the most interesting thing about it is a sophisticated way to communicate. If something happening in Full Share, those citizens need to know. And the citizens living in Arcola, it is not an issue for them. We could mark that area, correct? We could mark that area and send that text to the people of concern, and others doesn't have to. And so we have so much flexibility in communicating with our citizens. So this is all one more tool in our toolbox to better communicate with our citizens. And we constantly engage with our sheriff department, EMS, and all in case anything need to be communicated, because it is a collective effort.
So what is the growth in the county? Is there a trend, like maybe 10% that that's growing?
It's hard to predict. It has continued to. We only had 52,000 people in the 1970 census. Today we are at 894,000, and we are. The projection is we are going to have 1 million people, if not in 2025, late 2025. If it is not happening, then 2026, sometime in the beginning of 2026, we are going to have 1 million people. And it's continued to grow, and there are so many stuff we are doing in such a way to make that growth continue to be a sustainable growth in Fort Bend County. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. And if you have any questions, concern, all pass on to Greg. So thank you so much. Once again, thank you for coming this morning. Appreciate it.